Here's a typical UFC fight night for you. There are loud fans, popcorn, and a whole lot of beer in the arena. Fans and fighters alike get hyped up for these events, and as fans of the sport, we love to see those reactions. But sometimes we forget just how far from normal this behavior is. So today, we're talking about Jared Cannonier's unique reaction to the crowd cam at UFC 274, which went viral over Twitter. First up, the serious Jared clip. One of the best parts about the breaks in between fights is the crowd cam, which shows all the celebrities that are in attendance. Fans cheer far louder when there's a beloved fighter on the screen, which shows how loyal the MMA fans are. Usually the reaction is met with an equally iconic and sometimes ridiculous pose by the fighter who's got the spotlight. Remember Luke Rockhold's hand signs? More often than not, the fighters are just as excited, but Jared wasn't quite feeling it on that night in Phoenix, Arizona. As soon as the crowd cam pointed at the fighters, we saw the reigning bantamweight champion, Aljamain Sterling, rising star Molly McCann, and perhaps one of the most significant prospects on the UFC roster, Paddy the Baddy, on camera. The three of them were relatively drunk and were having a good time, laughing, screaming, and dancing. And right ahead of them sat Jared, with a cold, sad look in his eyes and wanting nothing to do with them. Cannonier was sitting very close to the three of them and could even feel the shrugs on his shoulders due to all the movement, but none of that was able to break the dark horse of the middleweight division. He didn't even crack a smile. The video went viral, as you'd expect, and raised the question in many fans' heads, why was Jared so serious? Most people thought it was just not his personality. If you look at Aljo, Molly, or Paddy, the three of them are outspoken and very controversial. They have a love 'em or hate 'em type of following. They've also got a goofy persona outside the octagon that they're known for. Jared, on the other hand, is a man of few words. Another possible reason was that he wasn't as tipsy as the rest of them because he's preparing for a title fight against Israel Adesanya. Can't be getting drunk on a Saturday when you're about to fight the last stylebender. Next, we have Jared's response. Cannonier made an appearance on Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour a week after the pay-per-view, in which he talked about his career, the future, the upcoming title fight, and of course, the famous clip. Jared said that he didn't feel the need to act a certain way when the cameras were pointed at him. That serious state is how he usually is. He thought most fighters start acting fake as soon as the cameras roll. Youch, Jared's throwing some heat. He also gave credit to his military background for making him sophisticated. Cannonier went on to clear the air that he didn't have any problems with either of the three athletes. He just didn't want to be doing what they were doing. The man likes to keep a tight group, and he doesn't act that way with people he doesn't know or trust. Gotta respect that. Jared mentioned that his wife was also in attendance at the event, but she had to leave earlier. He also got some beer spilled on him, probably from the three drunkards sitting behind him. Not that he holds any grudges for that. If he did, it would have made for another viral video that week. And now for the middleweight title fight. There's not a lot that keeps the fighters away from their favorite drink. A UFC world title fight might be one of the very few things that can. Jared's been in the training camp for a few weeks now for his upcoming fight against the champ Israel Adesanya. In his last outing, Jared knocked out Derek Brunson in a violent fashion. He took full advantage of the moment and went on to call out Dana White and asked the boss to give him the title shot. He knocked out the undefeated blonde Brunson. He certainly deserves a title fight. The fight made a lot of sense for both athletes. As Adesanya is lapping the division, he's already beaten some of the top guys twice. What he needs now is fresh blood. Enter the dark horse, Jared Cannonier. The fight is just as intriguing stylistically, with neither of the two being grappling heavy. It will be a crisp and technical striking of Adesanya against the toughness, heart, and one-punch knockout power of Jared Cannonier. The fight has been booked for July 3rd, the main event of UFC 276. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Time for some other related news. GSP comments on Paddy the Baddy. If you compare the two athletes, they couldn't be any more different. GSP was a soft-spoken martial artist who was a role model and an ambassador for health and fitness. The guy is retired at 40 and still in better shape than most fighters. Paddy, on the other hand, is a scouser who loves to fight and goes hard on the food and booze. The two met in England briefly, and GSP appreciated Paddy for his ability to enjoy himself while competing in such a sport. When George was asked about Paddy in an interview, he referenced their encounter and said that he loves watching Paddy's fights. According to GSP, authenticity is the key. Many guys try to act very hard like Conor McGregor and talk trash. Most fans can easily see through that, and the fighter doesn't get the fame and attention he desires. GSP told his own story that he wasn't the most outspoken guy, but he still managed to sell his share of pay-per-views by being authentic and doing what felt natural to him. He thinks we can see that in Paddy too. He doesn't try hard to be a character. This is who he is, love him or hate him. Gotta love all these interactions. They're kind of like the passing of the torch moment in our sport. Khabib and DC show support to their friend. The imprisonment of the two-time UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez was heartbreaking news for everyone. The man was jailed for going after the person who molested his child. Cain shot at a moving vehicle and the bullets hit the suspect's father. Cain was arrested and denied bail on 2 separate occasions, and the guy who did the crime to his kid and countless others still roams free. UFC. Almost all the fighters stood united in support of Cain, who's a true role model and ambassador of the sport. Derek Brunson set up merchandise whose sales would go towards paying Cain's legal fees. The fighters at AKA, who considered Cain a friend, all spoke up about the issue. Daniel Cormier spoke to the press right after his Hall of Fame induction. When he was asked about Cain, he said that it was killing him to see his friend in such a position. DC and Cain go way back. Cormier even switched his weight class after coming to the UFC so the two won't have to fight each other. DC said that Cain was with him during every single important moment in his life, and he would do the same for him. He said that he's visited Cain a few times in prison and will be there in every single one of his court hearings. That's what real friendship's all about. Khabib said in an interview that it's unfair that Cain's being punished. He pointed out that Cain isn't dangerous to the society, he's only dangerous for one individual who still hasn't been arrested. The other guy, however, is hazardous to society and is dangerous to anyone. Many fighters and the president of the UFC have written letters in support of Cain Velasquez. Let's just hope all these efforts pay off and we see Cain reunited with his family again. Joanna versus Wei Li 2 isn't a 5-round fight. The UFC is returning to Singapore with another banger of a pay-per-view. One of the highlights of this event was the rematch between Zhang Wei Li and Joanna. Let's not even try to say her last name, please. Their last meeting turned into the fight of the year and is widely regarded as the greatest women's fight of all time. Now that the two former champions are matched up again, the fans expect nothing less than a banger. Although it'd be really hard to top the last one, the big surprise was that the fight was only 3 rounds, so we might not get to see the same action. Joanna spoke up about wanting a 5-round fight, but it's probably not in the books. The main card gets too long, the fighters don't get paid extra, and there's just way too much problems with a non-title fight 5-rounder on pay-per-view. Let's just hope this one brings just as many fireworks as the last one did. Joanna would be looking to get her revenge, and Wei Li wants to win in a more dominant fashion. This fight might be the push they both need to get back into title contention. It's as good as it gets. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about the Serious Jared video? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.